Seeker. You're the dragon expert. What do we do now?
Don't get killed by either of them.
We'll need to look around.
Safe travel, sir. Scouted the area.
taking the magical fire with us?
The runes are interacting somehow with the flame from the torch.
know if you find one.
It's good to have...
What do you mean?
Waker, I hope it's not me.
Thank you, and blessings upon the Inquisition.
Long day.
It's good to see you.
May I help you?
Are you running short of...
Yes. We've many... It's too dangerous to go hunting through the hills to get...
Goodbye.
Stay safe out there.
Good day to you.
May I help you?
I found some of the herbs.
Thank you.
Are you running...
Yes. It's too dangerous to go hunting through the hills to gather them.
Goodbye.
Thank you. A pleasure to see you again.
I found...
Yes, these are perfect.
Are you...
Yes, it's too dangerous to go hunting through the...
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Of course.
So,
Surprised to hear it, that's why.
Anything we can do, just ask.
Thank you.
You've done amazing work out here. Thanks to you, these refugees are safe, with warm clothes and food in their bellies. The Inquisition might be able to make use of them. If you had a mind to.
What are you suggesting?
We could ask the best and brightest to join the Inquisition. They would serve well. Just as easy to put them to work, or look at the whole thing as an act of charity.
The Inquisition can always use skilled volunteers.
Having a purpose makes the troubled times easier to bear. And ours is a good cause.
These people have been through a lot. They could use a little charity.
Some of these people have skills that can help the Inquisition. See if any of them want to volunteer.
I'm sure we'll get some good recruits out of it. I'll go now and set things up with the refugees. But thank you again. These people are alive because of you. None of us will forget that.
You've traveled some distance to reach Haven. You're from the Circle in Ostwick?
In light of what's happened...
I did not mean to pry. Was there something else you wish to discuss?
Why would
The Order believes the Chantry no longer supports their efforts. Not to the extent they should.
Is there anything I should know?
The Lord Seeker's actions are a mystery, but the Templars will aid us. They cannot sit idle while the breach remains.
Is there anything I should know?
Redcliffe wasn't always a refuge for mages. Some of our recruits have family there. They fear for the place, as do I.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
If you need insight into what the Order is doing now, I'm afraid I can't offer more than you already know. Anything else, I will answer as best I can.
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thadis. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Did you enjoy your training?
Learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the Chant of Transfiguration wasn't the most exciting task. But I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing.
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter. Your first draft of lyrium. Power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
Prior to the Conclave, I'd only encountered Templars in the Circle. Do they do anything besides guard mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates, or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
What do you think of mages? Are they all a threat?
I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so again. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession of the beast.
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars at our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
That's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
And what about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course, but there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
I know how I spent my time in the Circle, but what was a typical day for a Templar?
Typical. The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's heralding, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
We would spend all day with Templars, and yet they rarely spoke to us.
A habit often mistaken for coldness, I'm sure. But we are expected to keep a certain distance from our charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, we must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
I'm sure you have other matters to attend.
It occurs to me I don't actually know.
What do you want?
I'm not sure. Where are you?
I thought you...
I suppose I could ask Liv, but I don't want to ask her. I want to hear it from you.
The Circle of Magi at Ostwick. At least until the rebellion began.
Yes, I suppose that would have required you to stay on the move. Tell me, do you consider the Free Marches your home? Are you eager to go back?
Wherever I am is home enough for me.
That's how I feel now, after years of tending to business for the Divine.
I'd like to get to know you better.
There's not much to know.
If you don't want to talk, I'll...
No, I just... Oh, very well. My name is Cassandra Pendergast, daughter of the Royal House of Navarra, 78th in line for the Navarran throne. I joined the Seekers of Truth as a young woman, and was with the Order until they withdrew from the Chantry. I remained as the Divine's right hand, carrying out her order to form the Inquisition. And here we are. That's all there is to know, my lady.
You're a member of Navarra's royal family.
The Pendergasts are a very large clan. Half of Cumberland could say the same.
Really?
No, but it feels that way. I have hundreds of relatives so distant they need charts to prove we're related at all. And they have them. Oh yes. The Pendergasts value their precious blood like it runs with gold.
So not on very good terms with your family, then?
I do not visit, if that's what you mean. The Pendergasts are famed for dragon hunting, but few actually pursue the craft. Most are fat and lazy. They pay lip service to the Maker and care only for idle pleasures and past glories. My brother was all that kept me in Navarra. Once he was gone, so was I.
You don't seem to like your homeland much.
My family polluted it for me. What little I saw of my homeland was through the bars of a gilded cage. My uncle treated me like a porcelain doll to be placed on a shelf and dusted only when necessary. Thus I did not see Navarra, the real Navarra, until much later. By then I realized I knew it not at all.
Your uncle? What about your parents?
They had the misfortune of taking the wrong side in the second attempt to overthrow King Marcus. The king executed them, but spared my brother and I since we were family, and children at the time. Thus we were raised by my uncle, a mortalitasi who preferred the company of his corpses to the living.
Your uncle was a mortalitasi?
A death mage. He still is. My countrymen do not burn the dead, they bury them in special crypts. The mortalitasi supervise the crypts, like priests. Uncle Vestalis oversees the grand necropolis. Navarrans spend more time honoring dead relatives than they do with living ones. It is odd to be so fascinated with death and its trappings. I will never understand it.
Tell me about your brother.
Anthony was older than I, a dragon hunter, who showed what a Pendergast could truly be. I idolized him. I wanted to hunt dragons as he did, even though our uncle forbade it. Anthony promised to train me in secret. We would hunt together one day, brother and sister, vanquishing the beasts of old. And then he died on me.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have cried.
No, it's fine. A group of apostates wanted dragon blood, and wanted Anthony to get it for them. He refused, and they killed him for it. In front of me. I begged the Chantry to let me become a Templar. Instead, they sent me to the Seekers. It took many years to let go of my drive for vengeance.
I think I understand how you felt.
At times I could not breathe. The rage nearly choked me. I sometimes wonder how different my life would be if Anthony was still alive. Would I be a dragon hunter? Married to some noble fool, a mother of 3? I cannot say. I take solace in believing the Maker has a plan, but he is not always kind.
So you were the right hand to the Divine?
To Divine Justinia, yes. And Divine Beatrix before her, in fact. The position is normally reserved for Templars of the Knights Divine, but my circumstances were unusual.
Unusual how?
You don't know the story? Thank the Maker. I will tell you if you wish, but it isn't as exciting as some drum it up to be. The short version is that I once saved the previous Divine's life. My reward was becoming her right hand.
But what does a right hand do, exactly?
What is your hand capable of? It gives, it takes, it beckons. It makes a fist. Liliana and I extended the Divine's reach beyond the Grand Cathedral. We went where she could not. After Beatrix, I was tired of the position and wanted to return to the Seekers. But Justinia convinced me to stay. Her vision for the future gave me hope.
You thought she could really change things?
Justinian knew the war was coming long before it began. She tried to avert it, but the forces arrayed against her were too strong. Sometimes you have to break a bone so it can be reset. That's where the Inquisition comes in. It was to be the answer. A means to preserve as well as an agent for change. I only wish she had lived to see it.
So, what's the story about you becoming the right hand?
Sweet Andraste, do you really want to hear that? It was, what, 18, 20 years ago? Some still discuss it like it happened yesterday. The tale gets bigger each time it's told. I barely recognize myself within it now.
That's what happens with stories that become legends.
I am not a legend, nor was I then. I was a young woman barely out of training. To hear others tell it, I alone saved Divine Beatrix from a horde of dragons sent to assault the Grand Cathedral. Rather impressive for such a young seeker, wouldn't you say?
And the truth is?
I stumbled upon a conspiracy to kill Beatrix. A Templar Knight Commander was at its heart. And there was a dragon battle at the Grand Cathedral, but I had help from loyal mages who rallied to the cause. They freed the dragons from magical control. Without them, the Divine and I would both have died. Yet I became the right hand, and they are forgotten.
What happened to the mages that helped you?
They went back to their circles, with rewards and privileges and most holy's gratitude. Many of them died at the conclave.
An impressive tale. I can see why people enjoy telling it.
Just wait till they start telling stories about you.
I'll let you get back to work.
If we get better horses, you think that'll make a difference?
Master Dennett's horses in the hinterlands are faster and stronger than him.
Maker, look at it. So much easier to ignore when it's far away. And to actually walk out of it, to be that close.
If I hadn't been saved by the Inquisition soldiers, I don't know what would have happened.
Inquisition soldiers? That's not what I've heard. The breach, the Divine's death, the Wardens. It doesn't make sense. There's so much we don't know.
Your experience with the Wardens will certainly be useful.
Mostly the treaties, I expect. Old parchments you're welcome to. What about you? How do you fit into all this?
It's been a whirlwind. It's hard to say where I fit.
I guess we'll have to figure that out. For me, I'll be satisfied so long as we find the bastards that killed the Divine. They owe us some answers. I've heard rumors of abandoned warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look, see if there's anything we can salvage.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
The Wardens? I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own, like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
So you have no idea where the rest of the Wardens are?
Do you find that odd? The Blight is over. We don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me. Yes?
I want to hear more about you.
Compared to yours, my life will seem dull indeed.
Your name, Blackwall, doesn't sound Orlesian. Marcher then. Ferelden.
I was from the Free Marchers originally. Markham. That was a long time ago. Another life.
I hear that many Wardens were once criminals.
You're right. And when you join, your past is forgotten, so let's leave it that way.
What did you do before you became a Warden?
I was a soldier, a nobody trained to wield a sword and follow orders. I grew weary of fighting other men's wars.
So you became a Warden?
More or less. Becoming a Grey Warden was the first time I felt like I mattered. The life I led before seems hollow in comparison. Perhaps one day it will fade away.
Why did you join the Wardens?
Because they remember honor and sacrifice. Words that have little meaning to the rest of us. Because they lay down their lives for those they have sworn to protect. We all need to believe there are such men in the world. I needed to believe I could be one of them.
We can continue this discussion at another time.
Very well.
You need something? Let me know. You need something, let me know. The time then. That'll do.
Can I help you with anything?
Iron Bull said the charges were at my disposal. Do you have any suggestions on how to use them?
Nothing jumps out at me. If I come up with any ideas, I'll let you know.
I'd like to know more about the Iron Bull.
The Chief. First time I met him, he saved my life. I never thought I'd work for a Canary, but he grows on you. He's not like any commander I've ever worked for. That's for damn sure.
How did a Tevinter soldier wind up in a Kunari spy's mercenary company?
I wasn't a soldier at the time. I was in some trouble, trying to flee Tevinter. A Tribune and his men caught me in a border town tavern. They meant to make an example of me. Bull killed them. Gave up his eye doing it. Patched me up and asked if I was looking for work. I've been putting up with his jokes ever since.
That's how he lost the eye?
Yes. The guards had me on the tavern floor when Bull came inside and yelled for them to stop. One of them saw trouble coming and figured he'd finish me off. The guard had a flare. Bull put himself between me and the blow. Big-horned idiot. Didn't even know me.
How's Iron Bull as a commander?
If you know what you're doing and hold up your end, he's easy. He doesn't accept any less. If he keeps us alive, he leads from the front, and if you've an idea that'll win the fight, he listens. I've seen bands whose captains had to prove they were swinging the biggest sword. Bull isn't like that. The charges might give him more lip than you'd expect, but every one of us would lay down our lives for the big ass.
Is it strange to work for a Kunari?
He hasn't tried to convert us to the Qun, if that's what you're asking. Bull's charges don't care who you light a candle for, so long as your shield stays up. If he hadn't told me he was Ben Hasroth, I'd have thought he'd left that life behind.
I didn't expect he'd tell you all that he was a spy.
Not the whole band, but those who've been around long enough to trust. He figures most of us would find out sooner or later, and it should come from him. Eyes to eye, he says. It's never messed up a job. He just writes letters back home. Lots of the boys write letters back home.
We'll talk later.
They've got good form. Cullen's putting his Templar training to good use.
Did Cullen tell you he was a Templar? He's not wearing the armor.
He didn't have to. Might not be a Templar shield, but it's a Templar holding it. He angles the shield just a bit down. Helps direct fire or acid away, so it doesn't spray right into your face. Canary learned the same thing when we trained to fight Tevinter mages. Your Templar's doing good work.
You sound like you want to head down there and give the troops some pointers.
Nah, I'm no good at command unless I know who my guys are sleeping with and what they like to drink. Inquisition's already too large for that. The charges are big enough for me. Biggest problem for the Inquisition right now isn't on the front line. It's at the top. You've got no leader, no Inquisitor.
Then maybe we need one. I'd be willing.
You? Huh. Why you?
I've got the mark on my hand. I've sealed Fade Rifts, and hopefully I'll seal the breach as well.
That means you have a skill. That doesn't necessarily mean you should be deciding alliances. My people don't pick leaders from the strongest, or the smartest, or even the most talented. We pick the ones willing to make the hard decisions, and live with the consequences. Who knows? Maybe you sealed the breach. The Chantry gets off its ass and all those soldiers go home and get fat.
You think?
It could happen. It won't, but it could. What's going on?
I'd like to know more about your work with the Ben Hasrath.
Ben Hasrath is actually a general term. You've got the secret police who investigate problems inside our territory. You've got the re-educators who take people with problems and fix their minds. Or make them disappear. And then you've got the spies.
How do the re-educators work?
I only know the basics. Wasn't my area. That said, keep a man awake long enough. Ask the right questions, give the right potions, and you can get him to say anything. You don't need blood magic or demons to change someone's mind. We're a lot more fragile than we'd like to believe.
You can alter someone's beliefs that easily.
One of my friends was a re-educator. He said that every memory is like the page of a book. When you examine a memory, you're turning to that page, and when you're there, the page is laid bare. Write a few notes in the margins of the page, erase a word here and there, and your whole outlook changes. Always felt a little weird reading after that conversation.
The re-educators sound horrible.
Yeah, they probably do. Here's the thing, though. What happens in Oleh when you commit a crime or betray a lord? They just lop your head off. At least the Qunari try to fix you.
None of those sound exactly like you.
Yeah, I was a special case. They sent me to Saharan because they needed someone who could fight and hunt down problems. That whole island was a sack of cats. Incursions from Tevinter, Tal Vashath, and native rebels fighting both sides. And in the middle, me, trying to wrangle the rebels and restore order.
You seem like the type who enjoys a good fight.
There's a good fight, and there's finding out who put rat poison in the bread and killed a bunch of children. I hunted down a lot of rebels. Lost a lot of friends to the Vince, or the Fog Warriors, or the Tal Vashath. One day I woke up and couldn't think of a damned reason to keep doing my job. Turned myself into the re-educators.
Not many people would have the courage to do that.
I thought about letting some rebel kill me, but I couldn't give any of those bastards the satisfaction. The Ben Hasrath ordered me to go to Oleh, ostensibly as a Tal Vashath, and work undercover. That's how I ended up here.
Thanks for the information, Bull.
No problem, boss. Anyway, nice talking with you. Can I help you?
I'd like to know more about the Qunari.
You writing a book?
The Qunari pose a threat to all of Thedas. I want to know what I might have to deal with someday.
Smart move. All right. What do you want to know?
What's it like growing up under the Qun?
The Tamasrans raise us in these units of kids all our own age. They're like teachers, or chantry sisters. They also help figure out what jobs we should do. They had me pegged for military work early on. When they learned I could hit stuff and lie, they started training me for the Ben Hasrath.
You never knew your parents?
No. I know for you folks, that's a big deal. The Tamasrans were like our parents, though. Taught us to read, helped us go to sleep, all the parent stuff. I remember the one who helped me build things with blocks. She laughed when I knocked everything down.
Do you ever think about what would happen if the Qunari conquered Oleh or Ferelden?
Some folks, like Cassandra or Cullen, would do fine if they didn't die fighting. Those two love rules. But the mages... Can you imagine Solus trying his fade dreaming under the Qun? Or Vivian doing her political bullshit? Both Sarah and Varric would mouth off until they ended up re-educated, drugged until their minds broke. So, to answer your question, No, I don't think about it much at all.
How do the Kunari rule themselves?
It's pretty simple. We've got the matriarchy, the priesthood, and the military. The priesthood figures out how Kunari should live in theory. The matriarchy makes it work in practice. And the military keeps the Kunari safe from outside threats.
Does it actually work like that? Is there much infighting?
Not like you're thinking of. People disagree, yeah, but the priests are there to solve disagreements. Here in Oleh, politicking comes from people putting their own gain ahead of the gains of society. If you do that among the Kunari, the Ben Hasrath set you straight, or kill you.
I've heard there's no marriage among the Kunari.
Yeah, that's true. Kunari love our friends like anyone does, but we don't have sex with them.
Kunari don't have sex?
Oh, we definitely have sex. They're Tamasrans who pop your cork whenever you need it.
Seriously?
Yes. It's not a big deal like it is here. It's like, I don't know, going to see a healer. Sometimes it's this long, involved thing. It takes all day, leaves you walking funny. Other times you're in and out in 5 minutes. Thank you. See you next week.
Sometimes I think I understand how different the Kunari are. And then I talk to you.
Yep. Still, it's more fun here. Fewer rituals, more making it up as you go along. Plus, you folk have redheads. Redheads.
How is everyday life different for Kunari?
Depends on your job, I guess. Some are just about the same. A baker in Valroyo gets up, gets dressed, and starts work. A baker in Parvolan does the same thing. They don't care about the Empire or the Q. Mostly they worry about breaking eggs and hope the dough rises right.
It can't be exactly the same. The Kunari have no personal freedoms.
How many personal freedoms do you figure that baker in Valroyo has? Life isn't about freedom. The baker in Parvolan wonders if she'll be given enough eggs to do her work. Will they come on time? Will the kitchen workers get her bread while it's fresh, or will they come late and blame her 'cause it's stale? Same crap in Valroyo. People are just people.
The word Kunari, is that the race or the religion?
Both. Kind of. The humans and elves who follow the Qun are the Vidathari. The Kunari who break away from the Qun are Talvasha, deserters.
What about Kunari who existed before the Qun?
The people we came from. They're called the Kossith, but we don't use that word for the race. We came south to Thedas because the Kossith were... I don't know. We had to leave. The stories aren't clear. But I don't expect they look much like us. Whatever they are.
See you later, Bull.
See ya. What's going on?
So, how did you get the name Iron Bull?
I picked it. We don't have names under the Q. Just, I don't know. Job descriptions, I guess. When I came to Oleh, I chose the Iron Bull for myself.
But why specifically Iron Bull?
This may surprise you, but I really like hitting things. Also, it's the Iron Bull, technically. I like having an article at the front. It makes it sound like I'm not even a person, just a mindless weapon. An implement of destruction. That really works for me.
See you later, Bull.
See ya.
like you must get hungry.
Chasing the Lord Chica, I hear. Anyone who thinks they need Lord in front of the name, that's bad. Bet he's got a portrait taller than he is. That's your first clue to a total arse. Fact.
Tell me about yourself.
Oh yeah? Interested, are you?
How about the basics? Where are you from?
Ferelden?
I got that from the accent. Where in Ferelden?
All over? Okay, fine. Denerim for a bit. South, north, wherever I want.
Has come for better lines. We will cut this knot of ties, and some may live and some may die. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see. Can you come to see? As you once were blind, in the light now you can see. In our strength we can rely, in history will not repeat. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to me. Enchanter, come to see. Can you come to see? As you once were blind, in the light now you can sing. In our strength we can rely, in history will not repeat. Enchanters, the time has come to be alive. In this circle of Magi where we will thrive with our brothers. Enchanters remind, the time will not unwind. The dragon's crooked spine will never straighten into line. What we plead will be a faithful and decree, where men will not retreat from the defeat of his fathers. Enchanters, a time has come for better lives. We will cut these knotted ties, and some may live and some may
There are no connections you want to mention at all.
Nope.
How very Kunari of you.
What?
Never mind.
Good, right?
come to see. Can you come to see? As you once were blind, in the light now you can see.
You're skilled. Who taught you how to use a bow?
No one.
That seems unlikely.
What? I picked it up here and there. Mostly it just makes sense. It's not like that for you.
Oh, certainly. Not a day's effort for the naturally gifted like us.
Well, it's not like that. It takes work. A bit. Not like Cullen and his pets. I mean, you miss, then you don't. Is it that hard to see when it's wrong?
Is it an elf thing?
Most I know couldn't find an arrow sitting on it. Right. Maybe I just make it look easy in shite company. Fact still is, no teacher. Where would I find one in alleyways anyway?
You're not like most of the elves I've met.
Thanks, right? Or was that an insult? Suppose I could go barefoot and whine. Like that's soulless, right? Never be as good as we were. Well, who's we? I'm just fine.
Retreat from the defeat of his fathers. Enchanters, a time has come for better lines. We will cut this knot of ties, and some may live and some may die.
I think there's more to it than that. A few thousand years more.
Hey, someone wants to be angry about old debts, be angry. Be a terror that never lets an enemy forget. But if you're digging it up so you can wear it, that's just weird. I mean, the Dalish don't really know. They have stories, but that's all they are. It's all fancy dress, not history.
We'll talk later.
If you say so. Chasing mages, that's a Templar's job. A big, armoured, pissed-off helm polisher. Not too late to go find some. Or stay home.
You apparently have a lot of friends. Tell me about your network.
It's not mine, right? I mean, it is, but it's also everyone. Everyone who wants to shove it to nobles who hide behind gold and silk. And hats, I guess.
Enchanters remind that time will not unwind. The dragon's crooked spine will never straighten into
Is Red Jenny real? Or was she always just you and your friends?
Dunno.
Don't you care?
Not if it works. I mean, Red is scary because blood. And Jenny is... Look, nobody fears the bunch of people who do random stuff. And besides, it's easy. Nobles want a bogeyman because they need to believe normal people can't get at them. Numbers, yeah? An even spread is all it takes.
Doesn't this mean people think you're guilty of more than you actually do?
Suppose. Does it matter?
Shouldn't it?
Important people kill over imagined insults. I've made more than enough real ones, so no. I don't suppose it does.
Are you just about pranks and revenge, or is there more to it?
Well, it's a weave, right? I grease a ballroom, so a wyvern chasing Git has to hunt Spray. Strangely, handmaids leave his vault open. His heirlooms pay off someone else. Maybe clean streets in Kirkwall so someone gets something else. Pish, pish, pish. A lot of people eventually get help or a laugh. Or maybe someone dead, if they deserve it.
So, who decides who deserves it? You? By what authority?
Look, Dukey cuts a stable boy's finger off for snagging a biscuit. He's eating an arrow for tea. Deserves it. Most times, it's just fun. And embarrassed, the same as dead for some. Anyway, assassin's a bard's job, innit? No fun, that lot. They might plonk a noble, right? But only to raise another. Plus, I'm shy at singing.
Where are the people you promised?
If I knew, they wouldn't be much use. That's sort of the point. Look, unless your baddies are rocks or trees, they have people they use. Cooks, squires, wipers. Yeah, I know, wipers, right? You better believe the one with wipers deserve it, right in the... Well, anyway, the little people will be there when you need them, in a million little ways.
Seems like there's no way the people who contribute could even know what they're helping with.
Don't need to. Maybe some ask for a target, a note like. But maybe they plant something just to help mess with things. I did something and something happened. That's a wish for some people. Probably not heralds. Anyway, sometimes I don't even do anything and people think I did, because something happened anyway. That's good too. Free payday. And free blame rate. But whatever.
I can play along if it works for you.
You have a choice. Hail the Inquisition.
We'll talk another time.
It's all good, isn't it?
I don't understand. I thought the chant of light bound us all together. The chant of light is closed.
They need action. Look at Mother Giselle. You could do worse than follow her example.
There was no word for heaven or for earth, for sea or
I have heard
sky.
rumors.
All that
I greet
existed
you.
was silence. Then the voice of the Maker rang out. The first word.
Farewell, revered mother.
Maker go with you.
Ah, Lady Trevelyan. May I have a moment?
Yes. Good.
Yes, Ambassador?
I'd like to discuss your parents.
A little sudden, but it's time someone made an honest woman of me.
What? Very amusing. This is serious. I'd like to dispatch a courier asking the bands of House Trevelyan to align themselves with us. What are your thoughts? Should we approach your family for their formal support of the Inquisition?
We already have enemies. I don't want my family caught up in this mess.
They may be drawn in regardless. Valroyo has noted your lineage. It gives the Inquisition some legitimacy, although not so much as we'd hoped.
Why not?
You are from Ostwick. Orlesian nobles consider the free marches somewhat quaint.
Even though I'm a mage, that doesn't give them pause.
You're not an unfamiliar sight. Mages from noble families are given more leeway. Besides, Ostwick Circle had a reputation for being rather sedate.
You could do as you pleased if it didn't bother anyone. Rest, study, find a hobby. The worst fight I saw was 2 Templars scuffling over a tavern bill.
You didn't encounter any difficulty with the Templars?
The Templars left me alone. I extended them the same courtesy.
I'm sure it was for the best. This place is no bastion of civilization, not like the Circle. I hope you don't find the living conditions in Haven too rustic for someone of your station.
This can't be what you're accustomed to, Ambassador.
One adjusts. I stay busy. It helps take my mind from our surroundings. And the cold. And the wildlife. And the lack of civilization for miles around. Why anyone lived here before we found Andraste's ashes, I cannot imagine.
Having a few leagues of ice between me and whoever wishes me ill can't hurt.
Do not say that too loudly. Chancellor Roderick is still here. Until next time, my lady. What have your ears heard, Leliana? Anything new we don't already know about?
No, nothing.
All right.
Let us begin. Let's see what we have.
I've news, sir.
What is it?
See for yourself, sir. We should look around.
I think the Inquisition could benefit from this.
I remember the first time the dead walked these lands, when a blood mage poisoned our leman.
Good day.
Make it be with you. Make it be with you.
Lord Wolseley came back! He says you convinced him. Here, for all your trouble.
Welcome, agents of the Inquisition. What has brought you to Redcliffe?
Is this some sort of test? We're here because you invited us in Val Royeaux.
You must be mistaken. I haven't been to Val Royeaux since before the Conclave.
Well, that's very strange, because someone who looked exactly like you spoke to me in Val Royeaux.
Exactly like me? I suppose it could be magic at work, but why would anyone... Whoever or whatever brought you here? The situation has changed. The Free Mages have already pledged themselves to the service of the Tevinter Imperium.
An alliance with Tevinter? Do you not fear all of Thedas turning against you?
Andraste's ass. I'm trying to think of a single worse thing you could have done, and I've got nothing.
As one indentured to a Magister, I no longer have the authority to negotiate with you.
What about the giant hole in the veil that's spewing demons everywhere? You're just going to pretend it isn't there?
I am not forgetting the breach, but we can only fight one war at a time. The Templar threat was immediate. If we live, we can worry about the torn veil.
Welcome, my friends. I apologize for not greeting you earlier.
Agents of the Inquisition. Allow me to introduce Magister Girion Alexius.
The Southern Mages are under my command. And you are the survivor, yes? The one from the Fade? Interesting.
I'd like to know more about this alliance between the rebel mages and the Imperium.
Certainly. What specifically do you wish to know?
I haven't seen any sign of Redcliffe's Arl or his men.
The Arl of Redcliffe left the village.
Arl Tegan did not abandon his lands during the Blight, even when they were under siege.
There were tensions growing. I did not want an incident.
I'd like to know more about this alliance between the rebel mages and...
Certainly. What specifically do you wish to know?
The Grand Enchanter told me she was indentured to a Magister.
Our southern brethren have no legal status in the Imperium. As they were not born citizens of Tevinter, they must work for a period of 10 years before gaining full rights. As their protector, I shall oversee their work for the Imperium.
I'm not clear on when exactly you negotiated this arrangement with Fiona.
When the Conclave was destroyed, these poor souls faced the brutality of the Templars, who rushed to attack them. It could only be through divine providence that I arrived when I did.
It was certainly very timely.
What does the Imperium gain from taking rebel mages under its wing?
For the moment, the Southern Mages are a considerable expense. After they are properly trained, they will join our legion.
You said not all my people would be military. There are children, those not suited.
And one day I'm sure they will all be productive citizens of the Imperium when their debts are paid.
You're quite a long way from Tevinter, Alexius.
Indeed I am, though I have heard you are no Ferelden either. It seems we are both strangers here. Felix, would you send for a scribe, please? Pardon my manners. My son Felix, friends. I am not surprised you're here. Containing the breach is not a feat that many could even attempt. There is no telling how many mages would be needed for such an endeavor. Ambitious indeed.
Well, when you're fighting a massive tear in the sky, you can hardly afford to think small.
There will have to be.
Felix. I'm so sorry. Please forgive my clumsiness, my lady.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, Father.
Come, I'll get your powders. Please excuse me, friends. We will have to continue this another time. Fiona, I require your assistance back at the castle.
I don't mean to trouble everyone.
I shall send word to the Inquisition. We will conclude this business at a later date.
Come to the Chantry. You are in danger.
Ooh, very mysterious.
We'll be careful, but we need to figure out what's going on here.
Did you hear the news? I remember you. You were a few years ahead of me in the Ostwick Circle. Really come up in the world, right? Marked by Andraste, ordering Templars about. Must be nice.
And you are?
Linnea. I'm not surprised you don't remember me. You were the perfect apprentice, and I barely passed my harrowing. You were the one the first enchanter chose to send to stop the Conclave. I was the one he left here. You're the chosen of Andraste, and I'm just me.
I never meant to make you feel bad.
Forget it. The Magister's not going to fall for you. We're with Tevinter now, where people respect every mage.
I never meant to make...
Forget it. We're with Tevinter now, where people respect...
You'd rather bow to Tevinter than join the Inquisition.
Don't tell me you bought the Chantry's lies about how evil Tevinter is. It's just because they're ruled by mages. No one wants us to look at them and say their mages are free and the world hasn't ended.
But don't Magisters summon demons and practice human sacrifice?
The Chantry says whatever they think will scare us. What's wrong with blood magic? People don't like the idea of us controlling their thoughts, but they have no problem with us throwing fireballs in their wars. In Tevinter, the mages police themselves. It works.
Why does everyone think we're part of the Chantry? We left the Chantry. They hate us.
Right. And I'm the Empress of Oleh.
Just what I heard.
Magister Alexius wishes only mages to remain in Redcliffe. He will approve of you. He does not approve of me. Many villagers have already left to escape his ire.
What does the Magister have against you?
He does not like to be reminded of what mages can become. He says all tranquil must leave Redcliffe, but who would take us in?
I didn't realize. From your speech, I should have recognized you as Tranquil.
Yes, my talent for magic was insufficient to protect me from demons. Rather than risk me becoming possessed, the Circle removed my connection to the Fade. My magic is gone, along with my dreams and desires. Those now in Redcliffe prefer not to see us.
How long have the Tevinters been here?
Magister Alexius arrived at nightfall, 2 days after we retreated from the Temple of Sacred Ashes. He forced anyone without magic out of the castle, save those he required to serve him. Even the Arl was sent away.
Farewell, then.
One moment. You are a member of the Inquisition, are you not? I am an alchemist. You must require potions. If the Magister will not have me here, perhaps I can offer my services.
We would be delighted to have you working for the Inquisition.
Thank you. While one lives, it is good to believe there is still a use for one's talents.
Inquisition, huh? I wish to holy Andraste you'd gotten here sooner. These Tevinters make my shoulder blades itch.
Who are you?
Name's Talwyn, formerly of the Circle of Magi in Hospital. Lived my whole life there, since I was 10 years old and came into my magic. 3 meals a day, quality education, a roof over my head. If you're not summoning demons, a mage tower's a fine place to be.
If you were happy in the Circle, why are you here with the rebels?
We're all rebels now. The vote sorted that. The majority wanted to dissolve the circles. The rest of us went with them or were cut loose. I figured I'm better off with my fellow mages than on my own.
You're not happy with this new alliance?
Something's not right about that lot. They're not like us. Magic or no, I'd rather count myself among decent folk than stand with Magisters.
How did the Grand Enchanter end up working with Tevinter?
1 minute, we were bracing for the Templars to attack. The next, we had a Magister ally. It was a stroke of luck that's given us an edge. In a way, out of the frying pan.
Goodbye.
Be careful. The Tevinters likely aren't happy you're asking questions.
I'll keep an eye out. I'll keep an eye out.
What I heard. You're from the Inquisition? I didn't think you'd still be here. Were you really looking to ally with us?
Is that so hard to believe?
Everyone blames us. The Templars left the Chantry too. That's worse, isn't it? They took an oath. Yet everyone calls it the Mage Rebellion. We're the ones they hate. What choice did we have? Stay and be slaves? I hope you can do something. Tying ourselves to Tevinter? That can't be the right way to end this.
You seem young to be part of this.
I'm Lisas. I came into my magic when I was 9 years old. Templars came into the alienage and took me to the Circle. They didn't even let me say goodbye. It's not right. I studied hard. I passed my harrowing. I sing the chant. But I'll be locked up for the rest of my life.
You don't approve of the Grand Enchanter's decision?
I was there when we voted to leave the Circle. She really seemed to care what we wanted. She was ready to rebel, but she wasn't going to unless it was the will of all mages. It's hard to believe she'd go behind our backs and sell us to the Magisters.
How long has Magister Alexius been here?
A day or two after. After the Conclave, he arrived. Come to save us from the wrath of the Templars, they said. But this doesn't feel like safety.
Take care of yourself. There's something strange going on.
I never thought the Grand Enchanter would swear to a Magister.
Good day.
If you say so. Good day. Welcome back.
Blessings from the Inquisition.
We're never going back. I'll die first.
Good day to you. Make us feed you, my child.